Hey there, film fans. I'm Jeff.
I'm Dave.
And I'm John, and welcome back to The Love of Cinema, a pod in which we'll challenge one another to discuss movies, both new and old, with a strictly positive critical eye.
That's right. And to avoid lazy negativity, we decided to make this episode a drinking game. So anytime we say anything negative at all about each other, about this film, about how Dave doesn't need a car fire to wish he brought his weenie, you're going to hear this sound? That sound means we're taking a drink. We hope you drink along with us.
So, pour yourself a glass as we go so far west. The only time you use your turn signals when you're being pulled over by a cop.
Cheers, fellas.
Cheers.
Because there are no turns.
That's right. We are talking about a movie that no podcast has ever talked about before. The Random Year Generator has spun 2007. So we have done 2007 before. We talked about Zodiac not too long ago, and we decided we can't talk about that or be blooded. We just can't do it. So we decided to go with No Country for Old Men. So if you're new to the show, we're going to get through a little bit of mini reviews, some gripes. We are a drinking show. We like to get the drinks flowing. Then oh my God, my cat is playing. He just turned my vacuum cleaner on. That's what those beeps are. Anyway, we're gonna set up the year, the context of what was happening in 2007, so that we can plant this incredible film in the time that it came out, and then we're gonna talk about what this rewatch of 2007's There Will Be Blood. No shit, fucking hell, of No Country for Old Men.
Yep.
Oh, fucking hell. Now I'm just fucking thinking about my goddamn cat.
I think that's a first where you've actually forgotten what fucking movie we're doing in the intro.
I know. God damn it. All I'm thinking about is my vacuum. Ooh, it says clean on the vacuum. Anyway, so that's it. Anything you two knuckleheads want to talk about?
Jeff's sitting there like, don't touch that. My dick's been in that.
Hey, come on.
Jesus Christ.
How many weenie jokes do we need in the first 2 minutes of the... This is also one of those vacuums that goes on the floor. It's like it looks like a little like caterpillar, not a caterpillar. It looks like a little like beetle going across. It's not a Roomba, but you know what I mean. So Dave's joke.
Yeah, anyway. I like to get all the jokes about you in early, so before your family turns the episode off.
I love this. As soon as I said that, my mom likes hearing Dave's voice talk. Dave just immediately just says the worst things about me. Okay. Dave, who you donate your money to this month?
Still Ghetto Film School.
Ghetto Film School.
Yep, we're up to $30.50. I've been a naughty boy.
That's right. Okay, we're saying you've been a naughty boy.
Okay, we're up to $31.
That's right. Dave's taking care of his liver this go round of the sun. So donating the money for a good cause. We love that.
I am finally starting to feel good too, and
nice.
My brain power is coming back. So look out.
I love that. John,
I can't back that up.
You want to shout our sponsors out?
I do. We have a beer sponsor. His name is Carlos Barroso. You can find the handle in the show notes, cbarroso.beer. That's at cbarroso.beer. We also have a music artist in residence who makes all the music on this show, every single episode. You heard it at the beginning. You're going to hear it in the middle, almost towards the end. And then at the very end, his name is Dasein, Dasein. Dasein. You can find that music available on all the usual music platforms, or you can go to our show notes, follow the links there to our link tree, and it could take you to all those other places as well. Dasein. I saw a movie.
I'm not putting every single one of those timestamps in for all the dots. Hey, listen to Dasein here at this.
Don't do that. There's no reason.
So, John, you want to give us a spoiler-free mini review?
It's pretty much like the movie Live and Let Die anyway. We use the one section because that's the one that doesn't get us the copyright.
This is a joke to a movie talked about before, Live and Let Die, where Paul McCartney wrote one song that they decided to play 14 times throughout the movie.
Do
you remember? I feel like the Foxy Cleopatra character of Goldmember is just Live and Let Die. It's not even really a spoof.
That makes sense.
Or a farce. John, what'd you see?
What did I see? I saw Final Reckoning, and I had a great time.
Final Mission Impossible, the final Reckoning Part 2.
Impossible.
I mean,
yeah. We'll see. We'll see.
I talked about it last week. What'd you think?
I had a great time,
nice.
And I think maybe one reason why I had such a great time is because I've heard so many people not saying it with hate, but critically just making their observations about it's long and maybe there's a lot of exposition.
What? Who said that?
Who would never say that? Yeah. I felt like it was all earned just from the sense that these movies they're not TV shows. And I think they did whether or not they needed the exposition, it didn't like drive me nuts that they were talking so much because they did have to kind of catch people up. And I felt like if there was any sentiment that was wrapped up in that, whether it was at the beginning and some of the exposition had to literally do with telling the audience who may have been seeing this for the first Mission Impossible movie, who Ethan Hunt is and his history and how capable he is and all the stuff he's done. But I felt because it's the last movie that it didn't bother me and it was earned. So I had fun.
A lot of people had criticism of like Avengers Endgame. It felt like a victory lap. Does this feel like that or not?
I don't think it's like
victory lap. Yeah, I think Victory Lap is kind of a harsh. It's a little more cool and cool than I would say.
Yeah, there's a right way and a wrong way to do that.
It almost felt like they were. Yeah, it almost felt like they were trying to. I mean, sentimental is the word I keep coming back to because there is an opening montage, which is awesome. Anyone who's a fan of these movies, they cut
Emilio
together.
Estevez gets it again.
You don't need a previously on. It's built into the movie.
There is a fun opening thing that kind of tells you like, okay, it's not just the last chapter. They're going to kind of celebrate where we've gone before.
Right.
And there were literally some like flashbacks to very early things, the way that Dead Reckoning kind of sets up. So anyway, my takeaway is that I think the stuff is earned. And even if that stuff is, you're the kind of viewer that stuff might bother you, some of the action sequences are so phenomenal.
They're so good.
That I would challenge you to have anything but, fun things to say when you're leaving the theater after watching, especially, I'll call out my two favorite sequences. My favorite one by far is his dive down to the submarine and the stuff in the submarine. You said it last week, like we've seen these things before, but they did take a fresh angle. The filmmaking is fantastic. The music is fantastic. It's like a 13-minute silent sequence in an action movie for a wide audience. You just don't see that very often. Not a word is said, and it's fucking awesome. The ending is fucking awesome. The action is incredible. It's cathartic. And they ended the whole fucking thing in a way that made me feel like that's how Mission Impossible ends their movies.
The ending is great.
It was good. So anyway, I saw that. Yeah. Really good.
Not
Everybody
once
should go
did
see
you
it.
wonder, how did he get that walking frame out in that biplane wing?
Okay.
Come on.
So,
and you know
I'm
what?
okay if nobody ever says biplane ever again. All of a sudden, everybody's an expert on two-engine planes. And I was like, okay. When was the last time you said
shut
biplane?
The fuck up. Yeah.
That's what they're called.
There's some violence in this movie that I don't think they've shown in the previous movies that I thought was awesome and cathartic, very satisfying. And the last thing I'll say is Tom Cruise looked amazing.
Yeah.
He's probably 61 and 62 when he's filming this movie because I know they had to take their break for a little bit. My God, man, what an icon. Anyway, it's over. I had a great time. I'm definitely going to go see it again. I also saw Friendship, the Tim Robinson, Paul Rudd,
it looks so cool.
A24 vehicle, written and directed by a man named Andrew DeYoung that I'm not familiar with, but anyone who is a big fan of Pen 15.
I love Pen 15. I think
he's one of their directors. Yeah, he's done 6 episodes of that. Sounds like he's really come up. I'm looking at his IMDb. It looks like he's come up in those dark comedy spaces. Not surprising when you see this movie. I had never, ever seen a Tim Robinson sketch. I am not familiar with the show. I just knew that it was that kind of cringy, awkward, dark humor.
He's really funny.
So anyone who doesn't know, we mentioned this last week, I think. This movie got expanded from 10 theaters, which I think were literally just on some coastal cities, to 1,000 theaters after its first weekend. So A24 was believing in this movie.
That's a fucking vote of confidence.
Yeah, it's a vote of confidence. Guys, I went in and I saw it, and that kind of humor that I described is what it is. So if that's not your thing, you might not have fun. I think it might want to make some people, pull their eyeballs out of their sockets. For everybody else, I haven't been in a movie theater where there were people laughing out loud that hard. Not every single moment, because that's not the nature of that kind of comedy. There's a lot of tension, a lot of awkward tension, a lot of suspenseful, dark, dare I say, like dramatic tension, because you're like, what the fuck is happening? Kind of a few times. But when they choose to be funny, there was an audience, a theater full of people laughing out loud multiple times in that movie. I cried one time at a moment. I was laughing so hard and kind of couldn't stop laughing. So I am going out for this movie. If anyone is even remotely interested in that kind of humor, if you like Tim Robinson, Paul Rudd does a great job too. He's always good. You should go see it. You should go see it in a theater because I think you're going to have more fun laughing with people
for sure.
than maybe not laughing at home and just thinking it's awkward. I could see that happening. So I'm going to say that one more time. You will laugh in a theater. You might not laugh out loud at home. And if you want to have fun, go watch this R-rated comedy, dude. We always talk about this. We bitch about this all the time. There aren't enough R-rated comedies in the movie theater. This one is ready to make you laugh.
I have not seen this in Matt Bellany's thing or the daily briefing thing that you sent us, but do you think, now this is a model that we usually use for Academy Awards films where they come out in New York and LA, get the critical acclaim, and then go to other markets. Do you think this can operate like theater as an out-of-town tryout, except it's sort of flipped? So it's like
possibly
try it out in the cities and then it grows, it gains a following and then it goes almost like it used to, right? Where movies would come out in LA or they'd have the premiere in New York and then you'd get Gone with the Wind a year later or something. Like, do you think that is something that could happen?
I do. And I want to be, this is a really good example of a movie to test that theory. More than the subject matter, I have a feeling A24 and anyone who's been following the great numbers and the success that movie theaters are having over this year as movies come back in a really strong way, I don't think they were curious about, or that they could not get a hold of the numbers on how the demographic, where are the demographics of people that like his show.
Right.
Because they're everywhere. I'm sure they're in the Midwest too. I think they were more curious about, would this movie or any movie break through right now? This movie came out 2 weekends before Memorial Day. There were a bunch of big, Minecraft and these big Dead Reckoning or Final Reckoning and Lilo and Stitch. So they knew it was up against these massive movies. They were going to bring families and groups of people to the
Jesus
theater.
movie from Easter.
So what I'm hoping this means is that A24 has realized, I think those Matt Bellany and the Town did a great, they had somebody on last fall or early this spring who was talking about the, not just focus group testings, but these large sample tests that they have been doing over the past several months, specifically with Gen Z and millennials, since we now are the most people who go to movies. And they were asking them, like, would you come back to the movies? And the answer was an overwhelming yes, if there's a reason to come to the movies.
Yeah, like Sinners.
We want to see good movies again. So we now have a few movies, and I'm going to go ahead and count this one. If the question that A24 had was, it's not that we don't believe in if this is funny and good or not, it's that as the movie theater audience there, I hope that they've realized the answer is yes. It's a low budget movie. I think it's going to make its money back. But more importantly than anything else, this is probably the first R-rated comedy I've seen in a long time that has like word of mouth, at least where I'm living in Los Angeles. People are talking about it and they're saying you should go see it. Yeah. And like I said, there were people cackling and dying in the theater. So anyway.
Well, that's good because they are releasing R-rated comedies. They're just not working. But this is good news. There's the hard stuff or something, the one that Jennifer Lawrence released last summer.
Oh, yes. The famous scene from that movie is really funny. I've
heard it's actually really good.
There's some stuff that's really good. It's just a little plotty. Like you can kind of read the pitch sometimes.
I've never seen the end of it.
Is it Matthew Broderick? And I forget who her mom is.
Of that.
Or his
plot. Don't try to follow a story. There is a story, but the story does not fucking matter.
His sketches are really funny. And it's kind of like SNL, where not every single one is going to kill for you, but it's the kind of thing where you're like, that's not funny, but somebody else is going to find it funny and you're going to be like, yeah. But like we got introduced to that show by my brother who was like, you got to see this sketch. And we watched it as a family and we were laughing our ass. Like my brother got my family to watch. It was so funny. It was for the people who like the show, the hot dog sketch and then the Game of Celebrity sketch on his show. And it's like, get the fuck out of here.
All right, then I'm going to go out on a limb and I'm going to make this comparison. It gave me the feeling, because it's so small and isolated and just about these moments and relationships, it felt almost like that Napoleon Dynamite energy of like, God damn it, that was a really funny, independent, tiny film.
Yeah, great.
It just had 2 famous people in it. 3 famous people, because Kate Mara's in it as well.
Oh, fun.
She plays his wife. Anyway, go see it, folks.
I like Pen 15 too. You said that director came from there, right?
Yes.
I've
never seen any of that.
There's some scenes that are so true to real life. It's like, I can't describe it. It's not going to be funny if I describe it, but like, it's so funny that they wrote a dirty show for 12-year-olds and like, nobody can do this. So we'll just play ourselves as 12 as adults. And it's like
a great idea.
It's such a good idea. Okay.
All right.
David, anything you want to gripe about to get us drinking here, even though you're not drinking? What do you think?
I don't have a gripe this week.
I always have gripes, but I don't know. I'm happy to get back into this. Is there anything I want? Okay. Well.
All right, do it.
Okay, go ahead. Can we just admit that all of our pets have Stockholm syndrome? Like, we take these things and we kidnap them, and then we get mad at them for like meowing and being mad, and it's like, shut up. Like, I gave you. They don't know that you gave them a good life. Like, my cat, who's literally in my lap and is now looking directly at me as I'm having this conversation. They fucking know what we're talking about. Literally, like, she is literally like, what the fuck? You spilled beer on me 10 seconds ago, and now you're doing this. Like, she doesn't know. Well, I think she does, actually. I think because we rescued her. Like, she's a good rescue. But anyway, they don't know that their life would be better elsewhere. So we got to stop treating these cats like shit. Because one thing I know about Americans is we don't treat our pets well enough. No, I'm kidding. But we got to admit, we fucking kidnap these motherfuckers. That's all I'm saying.
I think kidnap is the wrong word since most people bought them.
Well, yeah. Oh yeah. Like the pets, like the pets know. Oh, the pet know. Oh, you had a nice little transaction. Yeah.
Awful. I think we all know what I'm saying. That's fucked up. I don't know about you listeners out there, but I don't treat my pets like shit. What's wrong with you, Jeff?
Yeah, mine was a rescue. She was on death row.
Well, nobody treats their pet better than I treat my pet. My pet's sitting in my lap during a record.
All 4 of our pets are rescues, right? Rescue. 2 of mine are rescues. 1 of yours is a rescue. 1 of yours is a rescue, right?
I think, Dave, how are we doing on that front?
I don't know. We're good. Yeah.
Well. You did rescue.
She was a rescue, yeah.
She was a rescue. Yeah, I'm sorry.
No, we're good.
Dead.
It's okay.
This cat's dead. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
God. R.I.P. Diamond, we miss you.
R.I.P.
Yep.
We're pouring out for you.
I'm going to go on the record. I don't really love cats. I'm allergic to them. I think they're interesting. I just don't ever spend a lot of time with them because I'm really allergic to them. I really love Diamond. She was awesome. So
it might actually be the best cat we've ever had. Like, she had a personality at the end. She's an old lady with opinions.
The whole time I knew her, I felt like she was a cool cat. Anyway, I got along with her. She was great.
Well, my cat's
all right. Pets.
When we get the Murphy bed, you can come stay. You'll meet Aria. She basically doesn't shed except for this week because Angela's gone and she's freaking out. But
sure. I'll do all my sprays
close eye projects. We've
she's
had
like, who are all these strange women that keep coming in the house? Those are called hookers, kitty.
Angela, don't listen to him.
Fucking Christ.
Don't. Mom and Dad. He just takes advantage of his Australian accent.
English.
That cost me $1 and it was worth it.
Oh, come on.
Fuck everybody. This is for all of us. Fuck everybody. We got to get out of this segment. I wish I never.
What movie are we doing?
I wish I never cried. We're talking about No Country for Old Men, which came out in 2007. What a hell of a movie year. I'm so excited to get into it. Not our first rodeo here in 2007, as we said before. Zodiac was the last time we went into 2007. And then in the summer blockbuster face-off, we talked about a different film. Let's see if you can guess, because it is going to come up in our box office recap here. So as always, we like to start with the box office in our annual recaps just to get us going with the movie conversation. So you two cats, what movie was the highest grossing film that came out in the year 2007? And I'll tell you right now, it was a barn burner, but Box Office Mojo and the numbers had the same exact results. So, go ahead.
The Assassination of Jesse James by the coward Robert Ford.
Shut up.
I love that movie. It was definitely one of 2 movies. I feel very confident, even though my favorite of these big blockbusters is Bourne Ultimatum, but it is definitely Spider-Man 3 or Dead Man's Chest, Pirates of the Caribbean.
Dead Man's Chest did not come out this year. But
didn't? Oh, that came out
that came out in 2006, and I believe that was our summer blockbuster face-off film. So there you go for that. But
At World's End. Excuse me. At World's End is this year.
All right, you get a buzz and you get the famous buzz and gush at the same time.
And gush at the same time. I'm conflicted.
That is right, Dave. Any other movies? Because Spider-Man 3 was technically the 3rd highest grossing film, so there is a number 2 here. Dave, any other guesses you want to shout out, or did you blank on these 2?
Yeah, I blanked on these.
I have it.
Go ahead.
Well, actually, wait, because it would have come out in Christmas, but is it Harry Potter Order of the Phoenix?
Yeah, we do it the year it comes out, so there you go. Even the numbers had it in there.
I don't open my browser because it makes my audio skip.
Oh, well,
so that's why I don't know.
We appreciate you not syncing the show. I want to buzz you.
Whereas you guys do, so they scared. I get it. It's all skip the fuck.
Yeah. My audio is going to be clean and crisp, a little echoey, and so there's going to be some cat purring in there. Okay, so for everybody who just got lost, Number 1, highest grossing film of the year, 2007, was Pirates of the Caribbean at World's End, which is number 3. They must have done Dead Man's Chest and this back to back because Dead Man's Chest came out in 2006. And of course, The Curse of the Black Pearl came out in 2003. Harry Potter and the Order of the Phoenix comes in at number 2. That's 960 million to 941 million. So very, very close. Neither of which hit
and introduced one of the best screen villains ever.
Order of the Phoenix?
Yeah.
Oh, you loved Dolores.
That's the first time you see Voldemort, right? That's the first time you see Rafe.
No, you see Voldemort in.
You see him at the end of 4.
At the end of 4.
At the end of the Teacher Wizards tournament.
Yeah,
that's a goblet of
Goblet of Fire is
Voldemort.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, and then
You'll have the TV show. You'll have the TV show soon to help you figure.
So who were you talking about, Dave? Who do you think is one of the best?
Dolores Umbridge, bro.
Yeah, Umbridge. Bitch is terrifying.
Queen, God bless the Queen. Yeah, dude. Yeah, for sure.
She's got some Oliviers and shit. God bless the Queen. You're right.
So good.
Okay, so Spider-Man 3 is number 3 at 890 million. So that's still within $100 million from the top 1 and 2. Shrek the Third comes in at number 4. Also, Spider-Man 3 was our summer blockbuster movie. That was the highest grossing movie that came out in the summer. So you can hear us talk about that in a previous episode.
Did that beat Shrek as well? In the franchise?
No, it didn't beat shit. I forget. Dark Knight might have been up against this, 2008. So it got smoked for sure. Okay, or maybe because the other Pirates movie, 2006, was up against whatever was 2005. I can't remember everything. Okay. No, it wasn't Star Wars. I don't remember.
Stop thinking about it.
Transformers. That's right. The first Transformers comes in here at number 5 with $709 million. Shia LaBeouf. Let's go.
Which just goes to prove that people will pay $709 million to watch a movie where they can't see a fucking thing.
I'm just going to buzz you before you finish. Not to be a dick. Okay, and to round out the top 5, you have Ratatouille at $623 million. I Am Legend. Will Smith. The Simpsons movie makes $500 million. National Treasure Book of Secrets comes in at number 9 with $459 million worldwide. And
Solid
at
entry.
number 10, the movie that gave a particular filmmaker an entire comic book catalog. 300 comes in at number 10, $456 million. I remember seeing that in the theater and not thinking much of it. I just heard, like what we were talking about before, I hear this movie's really good and awesome. Okay, we should go see it. Okay, fine. I'm not even going to look it up. I'm convinced. All I needed was that word of mouth, as apparently $456 million worth of people did as well. A couple other movies that made money. The Bourne Ultimatum did not make the top 10, but it came in at number 11. The Live Free and Die Hard, same thing. The Golden Compass, Alvin and the Chipmunks, Enchanted, Ocean's 13, Fantastic Four, the B movie, like all of these, Rush Hour 3, all of these IP movies did not make it into the top 10.
I think Bourne Ultimatum is the one that has the really good special features because they have a whole heap of stunt stuff where they,
I'm sure.
Like it was the first time they'd ever led into a car wreck on film with the camera in the front of the car.
And the camera jumps that between those two
that fucking shot, dude. Imagine that.
Unreal.
It's like, hey, yeah, you look like you can hold a camera and you hand it off to the stuntman and he jumps off a fucking building with it.
Unbelievable.
Really quick, I'm not going to do any film trivia because we've been here a couple times, but this is like the Oscars were so good. Actually, it was Bill Hader that believes that this Oscars was so good but so dark that they added the extra category for Best Picture just to try to get some more hope and joy into the Best Picture category. Now, Best Picture, we'll go right to it, is No Country for Old Men, which would win 4 Oscars, I think 3 of which would go to both Coen Brothers, because I believe they did get Best Picture, Best Director, and Best Writing. And you know what? They actually also edited the film, but Best Film Editing did not go to them. That went to, I wrote this down.
It goes to their fake.
Yeah, they would have,
right?
No, I think
it would have if they, but they. Yeah, they can't because you can't have two editors.
Film editing went to, I thought I wrote this down, but instead I'm going through the list. Oh, it's all the way at the bottom. The Bourne Ultimatum would have been Best Film Editing.
Nice.
Roderick James is the name of them.
When they edit, yeah.
Roderick James is the name when they edit it. So anyway, yes, they would win Best Picture and Best Director and Best Writing for No Country for Old Men, which would also win for, of course, Best Supporting Actor for Javier Bardem. I still remember the magazine cover, which was Daniel Day-Lewis and Javier Bardem, and it was like The Bad Boys or something for this year. Of course, the big movie that came out this year was also nominated for Best Picture, Is There'll Be Blood, which would actually go on and only win 2 Oscars for Daniel Day-Lewis for its leading performance, who won every possible thing he was nominated for. One of the few actual clean sweeps, not just major categories. It won like every single imaginable thing.
After you win 4 Oscars, does the next one give you a cupboard?
He only has 3, so I don't know. You'll have to ask him the next time he makes a movie and wins it on. And then it also won cinematography. So unfortunately, Dave, your boy Roger Deakins, who was nominated twice this year for this and the assassination of Jesse James. Maybe he split votes. I don't know. But yes, There Will Be Blood would get that cinematography Oscar. I still think I go back in time. I give Paul Best Director and don't change anything else. A couple other fun things. La Vie en Rose came out like a firestorm. A lot of people were thinking that Cate Blanchett for the second Elizabeth movie, Elizabeth Queen, The Golden Age, Julie Christie from Away from Her, maybe even Laura Linney for The Savages. Elliot Page for Juno was like a little bit of a like, good job, you did great for, they threw her in here. But Marion Cotillard would go on to win Best Leading Actress for La Vie en Rose, which I think history has served really well. That movie did really well. It also won Best Costume and Makeup over Norbit. Yeah, I remember Eddie Murphy's
yes,
Norbit?
I remember that.
That was up for an Oscar for Best Makeup, but it lost to La Vie en Rose. And then Tilda Swinton wins Best Supporting Actress. So Daniel Day-Lewis in There Will Be Blood, one of the best lead male performance. We can argue these kinds of things, whatever. But Javier Bardem for No Country for Old Men. All the psychiatrists said it's the quintessential psychopath, homicidal maniac, psychopath. You have Tilda Swinton, who is the most amorphous person in the world, even more than Daniel Day-Lewis, and Marion Cotillard for La Vie en Rose. I mean, you're not going to get better than that in your 4 Oscar winners right there.
This year is just so insane.
But yeah, so Best Picture was No Country for Old Men over Atonement, Juno, Michael Clayton, and There Will Be Blood. What wasn't nominated was Zodiac, which didn't get a single nomination today. 3:10 to Yuma wasn't nominated this year. American Gangster. Ratatouille wasn't nominated for Best Picture. It would win Best Animated, but that movie's fucking good. It won Best Score. Enchanted, The Savages, Eastern Promises with Viggo Mortensen. So I think just a dark year for the good movies. So I think that they added the extra category 2 years from this year, with the District 9 year getting added. Any other movies you want to shout out?
I mean, There's too many to actually take up this
Into
time.
the Wild.
I mean, this year, Into the Wild. I mean, We Own the Night, the James Gray film with Joaquin Phoenix, Mark Wahlberg, Robert Duvall, The Great Debaters. How about fucking that weird? What was that vampire movie? 30 Days of Night. That Josh Hart.
30 Days of Night.
Did you remember that movie? That thing was fucking cool.
Oh wow, that's funny because 28 Weeks Later came out this year too.
The Kite Runner came out this year.
I actually read that book, believe it or not, and I saw the movie. It's so good.
Yeah, really good. A Shooter. I think you mentioned that one, but that came out this year. Charlie Wilson's War.
Phil Seymour Hoffman is so good at
right? Fucking amazing. Waitress came out this year.
Yeah.
Lions for Lambs, Becoming Jane, The Bucket List. That is kind of in my mind. That's one of Jack Nicholson's last It's a comedy.
He's
but
great.
It's an amazing performance. And Morgan Freeman and Sean. Jesus Christ. Sean Hayes. They're all really, really good in that movie.
Yeah, Sean Hayes is
Across the Universe. Came out this year.
I didn't love that when I rewatched it and talked about it on the
but it was still it was a thing,
podcast.
Right?
Life is but a song.
Yeah. Blades of Glory. We talked about that. I'm sorry. There's a few other. Golden Compass was super anticipated. Just reminding you of another time when movies were still being seen. Walk Hard, Dewey Cox Story, Craig Gillespie's Lars and the Real Girl, which I think took him into an A-list director place or on his way.
Yeah.
And it took Ryan Gosling as
Gosling
well as
was so good in that movie, and Emily Mortimer.
Mortimer.
You think it's going to be a joke, but I can't believe they pulled it off. Also, don't forget Alex Gibney, the famous documentary filmmaker, won for Taxi to the Dark Side.
Really, really amazing. Planet Terror and Grindhouse came out this year. That's Rodriguez and Tarantino's thing. How about a little scary movie that cost $20,000 to make called Paranormal Activity? I've heard it cost 15. I heard it cost 30. We'll just go with 20.
Yeah, that is the highest.
Considering what it made,
that is the highest budget to box office ratio of all time.
Yeah,
made over $200 million on a $15,000 budget.
Another movie, Funny Games, really dark, but I feel like it's important to mention. One of the last Die Hard movies, the first Hitman. You said Eastern Promises, Rush Hour 3, Knocked Up. Fucking Knocked Up came out this year, dude. Freedom Riders, come on. Disturbia. Are you kidding me? Sweeney Todd came out this year, and now everybody loves it, but it's a big Burton film with Johnny Depp and God damn it, Carter, Helena came out. I mean, get out of here.
Carter,
I joked about it earlier, but Casey Affleck had a really big year. Gone Baby
Black
Gone.
Snake Moan. Yeah.
Black Snake. He was he?
No. Well, it's
I've actually never seen
it's
that.
Christina Ricci and
Samuel Jackson.
So.
Gone Baby Gone came out, and Assassination of Jesse James. Gone Baby Gone, isn't that the movie that really got Ben Affleck's directing career going?
And the Town. Yeah, that and then The Town.
And then The Town. That movie is fucking awesome. And then, all those
Amy
ones
Ryan's
that you named,
really
which
good,
are just like, this is such an incredible year. I feel like one of the things, I'll just go ahead and say it now, when I watch No Country, even maybe more, not more, but is equal to the watch of No Country, it really, really, really takes me back to a time that I think was the last thrust of really great movies when movies still dominated. House of Cards had not come out yet. No. Streaming had not taken over yet. It was a time in the mid-aughts when we still had movies that were being talked about regularly. And that list I just read, those are not all wide audience movies.
No.
And they're famous movies.
Oh, like The Diving Bell and the Butterfly wasn't going to be $1 billion movie?
Come on.
No, I know.
Anyway,
I'm with
all
you.
right. Shooter. Did we talk about Shooter? Fuck
you,
yeah.
You mentioned it. You thought I mentioned it, but I didn't. Dave, anything you want to mention about this?
Sunshine.
No.
Come on.
Let's get
Dave's ready to get over it.
I think Into the Wild's great, and I love people who hate it now because he's a selfish prick piece of shit. And it's like, yeah, that's why he's so interesting. He doesn't know how to live in Alaska in the wild. He doesn't know how to do that.
Yeah, it's not a Capra film.
All right. I'm going to be quick today in the what was happening around the world. We didn't really mention Sweeney Todd, by the way, but we don't have to. Don't watch that Sweeney Todd. Watch the original one.
I mentioned it. I said it. I talked about it.
He brought it up.
I know they were nominated for Oscars. Good for them, but come on. Okay. This is from the Facts site. This year, Netflix began streaming content. NASA landed a spacecraft on Mars, and Steve Jobs introduced the first iPhone. Oh, and Tesla unveiled the first efficient electric car, the Tesla Roadster. Casual. It's also the year of Britney Spears' haircut. You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Social media also took off like crazy in 2007. MySpace was ahead of the game at the time, valuing 65 times higher than Facebook. And also, it was the year Tumblr entered the scene. So you rise quick, you fall faster. Time Magazine's Person of the Year, Vladimir Putin.
Wow.
The minimum wage is 2007.
He's had the silence says it all. The man has had an effect. Yeah, sure. Fuck that shit.
Hey, Time.
What's that? From the that's for all of us.
Oh my Lord.
From what is that movie with Jack Lemmon and it's like the American presidents, the two presidents that have to go and I don't know if there's whatever. And there's that famous quote, which was I was Time's Person of the Year. They're so was Hitler. And he was not twice. Anyway, okay.
Yeah.
Minimum. What is that? The American president?
They do have a line. Good.
Minimum wage in 2007
with Michael Douglas
was no. It's Jack Lemmon and it's the Odd Couple.
Martin Landau?
Yeah, yep, that's for me for forgetting. Yeah, I swear it's the two of them. You never saw this? It was on cable TV all the time. I watched the finale of this movie 10 times. I've never seen the beginning of it because it was just always on TV and it was fun. They break into the Smithsonian or some shit. Anyway, minimum wage in 2007 was $5.85 per hour, although it was different in some states. And this is very important news from 2007. Guitarist Keith Richards from the Rolling Stone denied that he snorted his late father's ashes. Okay, moving on. Oh, this is the best quote. This is a very important quote. This is a milestone quote from 2007. Now, keep in mind, this is the year that Barack Obama and Hillary Clinton declared their candidacy for president, as did Mitt Romney and whoever else was up against him. But this was the number one quote from the year 2007. I personally believe the U.S. Americans are unable to do so because some people out there in our nation don't have maps. And I believe that our education is like such as in South Africa and the Iraq, everywhere like such as, and I believe our education over here in the U.S. should help the U.S. or should help South Africa or should help the Iraq and Asian countries so we will be able to build up our future for us.
And if you think that's from Miscongeniality, I've got a surprise for you.
Miscongeniality is to this as Veep is to Donald Trump, where they go, dude. Fuck, I thought we wrote well, but apparently we should just wait for people to give us their content. This is Miss South Carolina, Lauren Caitlin Upton, competing for Miss America, and we've all had those moments. This is why the guy from The West Wing's, Bradley Whitford, pulls a gun out at the end of the business of ethics. The ethics of business. Somebody said recently, there's no business ethics. And I just went, the ethics of business. And nobody got it. But that's what I was talking about. So he pulls a gun out. She should have given up. Anyway, not too much more. The Red Hot Chili Peppers. This is funny because this just shows you why rock and rollers need to have smart people in suits. I'm not a capitalist, but Red Hot Chili Peppers sued Showtime after the cable TV network named a program Californication, a title matching the band's 1999 album. We all know the lead song off of that album. For some TV show to come along and steal our identity is not right, frontman Anthony Kiedis said in a statement. The problem was they never trademarked the name, so the court case was dismissed. Motherfuckers. Now people are trying to trademark like words. And so that David Duchovny show got to use that name for free and capitalize off of the success of the Red Hot Chili Peppers.
It's like when you got to pick up the beer for the party and you go and have a bong hit instead.
Yeah, Dave.
Sure, David.
Almost done with this segment. Like I said, it's not going to be too long. More than a dozen human feet in shoes washed up along the Pacific Northwest coast.
Oh, I remember that.
Did you know that in 2007, the U.S. state of New Mexico declared that Pluto is still a planet? Bet you didn't. The state said, fuck you, science. Pluto's a planet.
Yeah, the U.S. declares a lot of things.
A tornado hit Brooklyn. Tornado touchdown in Brooklyn this year. Chris Messina used the first ever hashtag. And he called it a pound sign, which it is. But he said, what do you think of using the pound sign for groups? And I forget what the first one is. I have it up here somewhere, but I lost it.
Yeah, it's not a pound. It's not a pound.
We made good choices. Top 10 TV shows. Number 10, NCIS. Number 9, Moment of Truth on Fox. I don't even remember that. Number 8, Survivor China. Number 7, Sunday Night Football, of course. Number 6, Grey's Anatomy. Number 5, CSI. Number 4, House. Remember House? Number 3, Desperate Housewives. Number 2, Dancing with the Stars. And number 1, can you guess what the highest grossing film of 2007, or sorry, what the number 1 TV show of 2007 was? Come on, we just did this, guys.
Idol?
Yes! Unfortunately.
That's what's wrong with America.
I love the tone. This might have been the Adam Lambert year, but I could be wrong. And last but not least, pricing. I couldn't find the fun ones anywhere, by the way. I couldn't find any fun ones.
Oh.
Yeah, $1 in 2007 is $1.54 today. So I know everybody's complaining about like a couple, it's a 5% inflation. That's 50%.
And yet the minimum wage went up to $7 something. So,
Yeah.
Everyone's complaining for nothing.
Basically half. So there you go, Dave. Gas prices increased from $2.27 per gallon to $3.23. Bread prices increased from $1.15 to $1.88. Egg prices increased from $1.55 to $6.23 for a carton.
Oh.
Remember when the price of eggs was going to go down on day one? Remember that?
All the chickens unionized.
Well, let's talk about them because the chicken prices increased from $1.03 per pound to $2.06. That is 200%, Dave. That's no good. Those chickens unions, those union reps did not do well. And last but not least,
it was a mob union.
Oh, okay. Last but not least, electricity prices increased from 0.11 to 0.18. That's it. 2007. Let's get the fuck into this movie. I'm ready to talk about this movie. You guys ready to talk about this movie?
I'll get in the movie.
Oh, yeah.
No Country for Old Men, 2007. I really need to figure out how to get our Mount Rushmore behind us because Roger Deakins is number 1. He's at the top. In fact, it's 1 and 3. It's not 4 across. It's 1 and 3. Roger Deakins.
I would challenge maybe Josh Brolin needs to be up there too.
In our top 4? Because we did Sicario.
Wow. Mine anyway.
God damn.
Because I've seen a lot of his body of work and some of it's stuff you guys won't watch, but like I've seen him do a lot of stuff, and he's very good and consistent.
Dave has
the Goonies
on a lot of Josh Brolin's body. We love that. Here we go.
Yeah.
For Roger Deakins, the cinematographer of No Country for Old Men. This is for you, being at the top of our Mount Rushmore. Cheers to you.
Dude, every time I watch a Roger Deakins film, it makes me wish I had more time to practice my lighting.
God, it's so well lit. All right. Well, I want to tell the Josh Brolin lighting story, which you might already know. A lot of people have talked about this, so we're just gonna we're gonna do our thing.
Keep in mind, this is the first time I've seen this too.
What?
Oh shit! I forgot about that.
Yeah.
Dude.
I never watched it.
Wow.
I think I missed this because I didn't really appreciate the Coen Brothers until I was like in my 40s. It was just, I started watching it at one point and I was like, this is kind of boring.
Boring? But isn't he your favorite cinematographer?
At the time, he wasn't.
Did you start watching? Oh. Who's your favorite cinematographer at the time?
I don't think I had one.
Ooh.
Yeah.
When did you start? Did you start this at the beginning? Did you start the movie at the beginning and say I'm bored?
Yeah.
Well, I'm gonna do the description here in a second, and then we can do our reactions. But
that was my reaction. Then,
how westerny is this movie? Do you guys say this is a western? It's basically a western. Sure, it's a western. Like, where do you stand on how westerny this is? Because it's very slow. There's a lot of vestiges of Texas.
Maybe one modern western.
Modern western.
Yeah. Contemporary western. Yeah, I'd say that. Yeah.
Okay. I'm going to read the IMDb description. We're going to start with you, obviously, Dave, since you've never seen this. John and I, we can talk about this. This is available on Max right now if you get inspired. Sorry, Paramount Plus. Wow, great.
No, it's not.
Max. No, it's on Paramount Plus. I watched it on Paramount Plus.
Did you? Because I couldn't get it. So I think when the month ticked over, it got taken down.
Well, I watched
it on Paramount Plus. So yeah, that must have happened.
I watched it 2 days ago.
Okay, because I went to Apple and I hit the go to Paramount Plus and it wouldn't bring the movie up. I searched it. The movie wasn't on there. What the fuck is going on with Paramount Plus?
Wait, I will say this, and I'm mad at Apple for a lot of things because like Netflix movies don't come up, but I searched for this on my Apple TV and it said it was on Paramount Plus and I said, great. So I clicked on it and then it went to Paramount Plus and then it wasn't open. So then I had to search Paramount Plus for it again and then it came up. I just had to do 2 searches instead of 1.
I did that and nothing came up. It didn't come up at all. If I go out there and find it after we record this show, I mean, fucking mad.
I'm going to clip this just in case. What's our clip? I'm going to clip this so that Dave has this forever. Okay. Whatever. Where'd you watch this? Did you rent it?
Yeah, I rented it.
I definitely, well, and you've seen more shit on Paramount Plus than both of us.
Yeah.
Actually, except for John because he rewatched all the Mission Impossible movies, which are all available on Paramount Plus. Okay.
I own most of them, so I didn't have to use.
Great. Dave, I'm going to read the IMDb description. I'm going to send it your way. Here we go. Violence and mayhem ensue after a hunter stumbles upon the aftermath of a drug deal gone wrong and over $2 million in cash near the Rio Grande. What'd you think? What'd you feel? Take it away.
Well, I remember it comes up as it starts, and it's the guy talking about when he was a sheriff and talking about killers and stuff. And my first thought was, oh, no, it's a talkie. Like, it's just dialogue,
yeah, there's just so much dialogue in this movie.
And then there's nothing after that for the next 20 minutes. Like, I'm like, it's a talkie, and then it isn't. But yeah, like I said, I didn't see this the first time because I don't think, and to be honest, I'm glad because I don't think I would have appreciated it as much as I did this time because I really fucking enjoyed this. Like, Bardem's character is completely fucking unsettling. And
you think?
Like it's Rog, you know?
That's Raj.
Yeah. I will watch Rog film Shia LaBeouf. I'm, that much of a Roger Deakins fan.
Yeah, this movie is Jeff mentioned this at the very beginning, but like there's nothing we're going to say that probably hasn't been said before, which is annoying. But I can't help but think every time I watch this, I'm going to be honest.
Your opinion will be different, I think.
I hope so. I'm going to be honest. I have trouble watching this movie and not thinking about the context of the year. There Will Be Blood is one of my favorite movies ever made. So I have trouble when I watch this movie not thinking of it comparatively to There Will Be Blood. If you can manage to not do that, because they were literally shot like miles away from each other, it's it's a similar kind of setting, and it's another dark, moody western.
Didn't they have to hold up shooting once because they were testing the pyrotechnics from
There Will Be Blood?
Of
the blowing up of the oil rig. Is that they had to stop.
It's also shot.
It's on the phone.
Same town that,
fucking stop it!
It's not honestly, not a two-crew town, as Daniel Day-Lewis said.
This town isn't big enough for the two of us. It's where they shot Giant. As well.
Marfa, Texas.
I think this movie is so fascinating, especially looking back on it since it has that credential of being a Best Picture winner. It's so fascinating to me that it's not about taking credit away or necessarily giving all the credit to the Coens versus Corman McCarthy. Like the story, it's an adaptation. This is not one of their originals. And this story is such a unique, compelling story because it is so dictated by the behavior of human beings going through a very simple dilemma. This is not a super plotty movie.
Right.
This is about watching this thing happen, and then this guy is desperately trying to just solve his problem, stay alive, keep the money. It's very, very simple, almost like deceptively simple. So the first time I saw it, I couldn't help but be, and I was still like acting then, so I couldn't help but be kind of mesmerized by Javier Bardem.
Oh my
I think
God.
it was one of the first times I had
Yeah.
ever noticed him, and it's one of those roles that you're just kind of like, Jesus Christ. The more and more
I have
see
one
it, this is
question
probably
about
the-
his. I have one question about his performance a little bit later, so we'll get back to that. Just
Mhm.
want to put that in there.
The more and more I see this movie, this is probably the third and fourth time I've seen it. The more, and the older I get, of course, the more I'm kind of fascinated by how the process, the behavior, what happens to these people in this very simple story. It does have this kind of existential, mythical tone about it, which is what I would say is so true to a lot of American Westerns, which is why even more than the setting, it is that thing that seems to come away from just watching these people go through a very simple situation. I'm not saying it's not high stakes and emotional, but the actual plot is very simple to describe. There's really not a lot to it. You're just watching these humans kind of deal with each other inside this plot in these towns that don't have a lot of people in them, and there's not these crazy set pieces or anything. So every time I watch this, I become a little bit more meditative. I kind of merge a little bit further away from Josh Brolin's character, who's kind of going through the dramatic situations. And I guess I kind of find myself being pulled closer and closer to Tommy Lee Jones' character and just kind of observing this from is this the world I live in now kind of place, which is when I first saw it, I don't
which
think
is
I
what
really
a lot of
got
people
there.
are doing these days.
Yeah, for sure, whether we want to or not. So yeah, I'll stop there and hopefully we'll have some more interesting things to say. But that is, it reminds me of, remember how much we all kind of fucking went off on how compelling the cover up of the murder is in Psycho? There's the silent sequence of him putting the car in the bog and cleaning up the room. And I was just like, oh my God, it's just so compelling. And yet I was learning so much about how he lived in his character because of that. And it made me question the life and death of it all in such a way. This very much reminds me of that. How about you,
Well,
Jeff?
This is why do we love watching psychopaths so much? Like the comps or Hannibal Lecter and whatever, but like
because you can watch it from a safe distance behind your TV.
We love watching psychopaths. There's something so intriguing about it. What does it say about me that Anton Chigurh, Anton Chigurh, that he's a full-blown psychopath, and every time he did anything, I totally get that. That makes total sense to me. Like
because he has a code. He has some weird.
I don't even know what it is, but he's got one.
Were you happy that you got it, or did you feel nothing?
I feel. That's a good question.
Yeah.
Actually, this comes from somebody else. But when they were in the hotels, when he goes in the hotel room, I love that you're worried for him. You think he's about to get shot by somebody, and you're like, don't forget about the guy behind the door. And then you're like, wait a second, why do I feel like I'm helping him live? He's a psychopath. He should die. I should be hoping that the guy behind the door kills him. This is actually only the second time I watched it all the way through since I saw it in theaters in 2007. I've seen clips. I've seen a lot of it.
Oh, wow.
I've tried to take it in. I just haven't sat down because this is like a turn the lights out and focus kind of movie. It was actually the Coen Brothers' longest movie up until this point at 2 hours and 2 minutes. And I don't know why. I feel like I just remembered it so well. I knew it was powerful. And maybe I am like you, John. Maybe I was totally seduced by the media narrative between the two films that decided to divide these modern Westerns that both happened to come out the same year, that were filmed in the same city and the same time. Both of which apparently neither party knew that the impact that they were going to have on film history. Josh Brolin said he did not know he was a part of anything special. It didn't feel like anything different than any other movie he ever made. Daniel Day-Lewis famously threw out the first like 3 or 4 weeks of his shooting, and at that point was just like, fuck it, I just trust Paul. Anyway, I think this movie blew me away so much this time watching it that I want to watch it again immediately. I wanted to turn around and just give myself a night, and then now tonight I want to watch it again immediately. That's how powerful this movie was for me this time.
Was that also a little bit because of what I mentioned earlier? Like, watching this movie made me remember how good the movies were then.
Right.
Where it was just like, dude, this was just one of the great movies that came out that year. It ended up winning the Best Picture. But I mean, this was anyway, I know exactly what you mean. And let me ask you a fun, provocative question. Is Chigurh the lead of this movie?
No.
Who's the lead?
It's Tommy. Even though he doesn't have a lot of screen time, it's still his narrative going forward. And I think that's the best thing that they do as screenwriters. This happens in other movies too. This is not the only movie where this is the same. Godfather is kind of the same way, right? Like, I don't think Brando has more screen time than Michael. I could be wrong, but it's like, it's so obviously his point of view, especially when you watch it the second time. In fact, just to wrap up my Academy Awards thing about this, because it shouldn't matter. I'm sorry that they do. To anybody who's listening, be like, fuck the Academy Awards. I totally get it. They got it right in a way. Like, There Will Be Blood's if There Will Be Blood won and won Best Director, totally. But like, what this movie achieves, I'm not saying it's their best movie. I'm not saying it's better than Fargo. I'm not saying it's better than The Big Lebowski, but to that point, how is Tommy Lee the lead of this movie, even though he probably has less screen time than Javier Bardem? Nobody roots for him. A lot of people forget about him. I rewatch it, and I think, I bet you, John, if this is your second or third time, most people watch it a second or third time movie go, oh yeah, Tommy Lee's amazing. The second or third time they watch it. The first time, it's all about Javier Bardem and Josh Brolin. And Josh Brolin, I didn't really know him as an adult actor because I wasn't watching Grindhouse and those kinds of movies. So I saw him and I was like, oh, wow, he's familiar. Oh, Goonies. Oh, yeah. And then he was all of a sudden Dan Brown in Milk the next year, nominated for an Oscar, and then in Sicario, and then he was off and running. So it's like, there's something about this movie that's just so brilliantly, masterfully done in the most simple way possible. They tried to be so simple. There's 2 setups in every single shot. The script is simple. They're not. Even the violence is not glorified in any way, shape, or form. It's fucking brutal, but it's so tastefully simple, and it's so powerful. So anyway, as far as I can put the Academy Awards stuff off to the side, and I wish the Academy Awards didn't listen to all the people that are telling me right now, oh, you should have a battle between these 2 movies. Because, it's like, this movie is just the best movie. It's just so greatly done. I'm not saying it's better than There Be Blood, but it makes so much sense. And I'm glad that was the debate.
I'm glad I watched this one and not the other one.
If we let Twitter have a decision, then who the fuck knows would have won Best Picture this year? It could have been fucking American Gangster or something, which is fine.
I think there's something, well, it makes me, all right, then I want to take it back to, I think the reason why this movie really struck a chord, there is something more accessible to a crime drama than there is to There Will Be Blood. And I think the wide audience appeal is so often,
this
every
is just
now
so
and then the
appealing,
Academy.
this movie.
Well,
I don't know. It did well. It did well commercially as well as critically. And you know what I'm saying, though. I feel like a lot of times the true Best Pictures seem to get the most human beings agreeing to that. And There Will Be Blood is, that's one of my favorite movies of all time. But I understand why a lot of people didn't really feel like the initial hook to go see it, because they don't go see movies because they're directed and written by Paul Thomas Anderson and they star Daniel Day-Lewis. They want to know what it's about. And the trailer for No Country for Old Men, I mean, it's super compelling. It tells you immediately, if you weren't somebody who was familiar with the Coens, there's a lot of crime and violence in their movies, but if you weren't familiar with that, you're going to see this trailer and you're going to think this is a really dark thing. There's murder. There's money. It's a crime drama, and it's set in the West. It's something that a lot of people, I think, are gonna find themselves attracted
Mexicans
to.
and Americans. Like, it's very, very.
I have noticed they do have certain themes in their films a lot, which is the constant theme of people losing all their sense of money, and like one character who is smart but just makes the worst possible choices.
And who's that?
And it spirals out of Josh Brolin. Like, he's smart. When he's approaching the scene of like the massacre, he's like, checking here, and he's like crouching down because of his like prior experience in the military. But still, he's thinking as he's approaching. Then he sees a bag of money, and everything goes out the window. Like from that point on, his life just spirals the fuck out of control.
He's willing to take risks. I just love it too that they don't show us that. I don't know why he's good at this, why he's good at taping shit up. Because I always hate that in movies when people are smarter than they should be. And it's like, I don't need much. I don't need you to explain it to me. But like, as soon as they said he was in Vietnam, I was like, got it. I'm good.
Yeah,
they didn't say it at first, which I
they
thought was
totally
cool.
didn't overdo it. Like when he was preparing.
He's not Rambo, right?
Yeah, no.
He is smart, but he's making mistakes. He definitely seems like a normal person. If it can be welded, I can weld it. Like these aren't superpowers. He's just a reasonably sensible person with military
I am
training.
Iron Man. Yeah.
Was it 10, like a 10 gauge shotgun? Is that what that conversation he had, like a weird conversation where he's like, just give me the 10. And the guy was like, we don't have this. And it's like, he basically slipped in that. Luckily, he could just get a gun by like, you can flash somebody and get a gun for it, like nowadays. But it's, anyway, it's so good. But then even Javier Bardem, you were talking about the money. You're like Josh Brolin sees the money and he goes out the window. I want to watch this movie again for two reasons. Number one, Tommy Lee Jones is so good, and I want the poetry of what he's saying to mean even more to me. I feel like everything he says is as powerful as to be or not to be. That monologue. I feel like this whole thing is to be or not to be, basically at the end. But Javier Bardem is chasing this $2 million. He kills all of his contacts, including those two guys at that site, who are clearly his dudes. Like clearly they're helping him, and then he kills them. And so it's like, it makes it seem like this is it. He's going to take the $2 million and retire well. But at the same time, it seems like it's not about the money. And it's driving me insane. I need to watch it again because I was like, it seems like he's got the money, so he's good, but it also doesn't, the money doesn't matter. I can't I can't figure that out.
They nailed it. At one point, they're like, yeah, even if you give him the money back, he'll kill you anyway because you inconvenienced him. He was inconvenienced.
And that comes out of the great Kelly McIsaac scene at the end where he's like, I have to because I said it. And he's like, anyway, sorry, John.
No. What's so cool, because we have to give, I was saying, do you give the Cormac McCarthy the credit for a lot of these big story choices, or with Coens? It's an adaptation, so you should be giving it to both. Hopefully there's a lot of juice in both of these source material.
They also say Cormac, and I can't do that. I can't say Cormac McCarthy the way that they do, but that's just me.
Cormac McCarthy. He is one of my favorite writers. He is unbelievable. I've actually never read this book, but I did hear that the big structural choice that you don't see Brolin's character die. I've heard that's in the book, and I guess what you're
that whole
saying
scene,
about
they just show up to the new location. You just start hearing pop, 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 pop. I don't even think, the lead's dead.
There's a weird fade to black before that sequence. Oh, where he's like talking to the girl and it's a fade to black and you're like, what's happening? Yeah. So there's these fun structural things that happen here, but it does make me, Scorsese says that thing, like, I'm always so fascinated. And he's the prodigy. He's saying, I realized when I was a kid that some of the most fascinating things that happen about movies are the way you edit a movie, and that thing that actually doesn't happen on screen, it happens in the head of the audience member. Yeah. If you're editing well and telling a story well. And what you guys just said about what happens to Chigurh in terms of the money, do you ever see him deliver the money? No. You know what happens in that situation. He is somehow going to acquire it. He is not showing up to kill Brolin's wife at the end of the movie because he thinks she has the money. That's not why he's there. You know what I mean? Which is so satisfying. And I wouldn't say that. I think that that exclusively comes the way they have told you how to determine their storytelling language up until that point. It's so minimalist that you are ready to not have the answer to that, or to not even care about that, because they've told you the plot doesn't matter at this point. You really don't give a shit.
I often I like screenplays that wrap it up and tie up the threads and stuff like that. And this one doesn't. And then not only does it not do that when we get to the end, it's such a normal life kind of ending where he just, wanders off after being injured. And then you get to Tommy Lee Jones and he's retired and he doesn't know what to do with himself. And it's like the whole thing just peters out and goes back to normal like life does after the adventure is over. And most filmmakers let you find that out on the street outside the theater, but these guys bring you back to real life while you're still sitting in your seat.
Well, and that's why, and
the credits haven't rolled yet.
It's so unsettling, and I think two of the most important scenes are, of course, the first coin toss scene at the gas station, which is it's like maybe the scene of the film. is the call it. You call it. It's like, don't just put it back in your pocket. Like that whole scene, of course, at the gas station. We're closing. You're closing, but it's still light outside. It's like, what are we betting on?
Talk
Everything.
about that
We're
in a
betting.
minute too.
You have everything to lose. You have everything to win. That whole thing. And then later, when you have the coin toss scene with Kelly McIsaac in the back corner in the bedroom or whatever, and she's like, I knew you're going to be there. I mean, these are the two. Like, though that's the beginning, because then she says, no, it doesn't matter. It's you. You're the person doing this. You're just. I'm not going to let you get off the hook and let the coin decide. You have to. You're the one who put me in the situation. You need to decide, which is awesome. And then, of course, I think the best subtle thing I've ever seen in film, because so many filmmakers get clever and like they just cut to a different scene and they don't tell you what happened. And then he gets out of the house and he just checks the bottom of his shoes. That's like the best subtle filmmaking I've ever seen.
But also, you want to talk subtle performance in that scene, like when she refuses to call it. He literally goes from impassive to cold rage, but his face doesn't move a muscle.
It's it's brilliant. In fact, I've heard people say like that won him the Oscar, not anything else. Like that is as soon as they said that, like that.
That's the thing I see when I close my eyes to go to sleep.
But just to bookend it, and the reason, John, that Tommy Lee is the lead of the movie, especially when you see it the second or third time, is it ends with that monologue. And I think most people in the theater have a similar. It's not quite the finale of Sopranos, but it ends and you go, "What the fuck? What the fuck? It's a dream. It's like it's in a poem. It's like these. What is it with these fucking dreams? Like what the fuck? There's no action. There's no resolve. Like how is that the denouement? But the whole idea here is he. I'm not saying he's dead. He's not alive. That all those theories. It's all dumb with the ticking time clock. It's basically. Here's what I see. It's like Tommy Lee. His dad was also a sheriff who didn't carry a gun, which just seems fucking crazy for the old West, right? Like Texas in the mid 1900s, they just didn't even need to carry. What the fuck? What are you doing? If the sheriff doesn't have a gun, then who's going to stop all the outlaws, right? And basically, he's coming to terms with exactly what his father realized, which is, I can't keep the stuff that is happening today. I planned my whole life. I try to be prepared. I try to understand things. And as I'm realizing I don't understand anything, my time is running out. And then the next generation is doomed to do it again. You spend your whole life trying to understand things, and right when you realize you don't understand anything, your time runs out. And that, to me, is why Tommy Lee is the lead of the movie. And maybe other people have a different takeaway, but it's like, after all of the shit we see in this movie, we could talk about Chigurh to death, we could talk about Brolin to death, but what a point to make, if that's the point they're making. I don't know. But it's like, it just ties everything together in such a way that it really gives this movie purpose.
It's such
really
a good
gives
point
this movie
because
purpose.
They know half the audience is feeling like this as well. Because that's the thing. As you age, you lose relevance to what's going on around you, and
what's
it
the
starts to
title
get
of
out
the
of
movie?
your control. Yeah,
I see this movie and I'm like, oh, because maybe this killer is taking over, or like it's lawlessness out there. No, it's because once you realize you're old, and once it's dead. It's not your country anymore.
I still have
you're dead and you move on.
Young fucks not listen to me, and I'm always right. Always.
You're right in your context, though. You know, it's anyway.
But isn't the theme?
Why are you buzzing me? Fuck you.
And isn't the theme though that all really summed up in his conversation with who is that? His uncle, or his
I thought it was
the
his
guy
brother.
I think it's his brother, maybe.
They were talking about
their
cousin.
Like, you're just learning the lesson that everybody has learned over and over again, and the fascination. It's kind of the more you know, the less you know kind of lesson. It isn't that you're physically getting too old and the world appears too scary to you now, or it's a world you don't know. It's almost like you convince yourself when you're younger that the world is what you think it is.
Yeah.
And as you get older,
you see it. How can it not be? You see it right in front of you. Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, I don't know. I wonder if it is as literal. This is an irony that I can't ever forget when I watch this movie. And I do want to read this book. And I love Cormac McCarthy, as I said. An old man wrote this book.
This next book. Yeah.
He is the man who wrote the lines that opened this movie with Tommy Lee Jones, is the guy who then has the capacity to create that kind of psychopath.
Yeah.
So there's this also this kind of meta thing that I can't help but think about when you think about the storyteller and the storytellers. They were not old men when they made this, but I'm sure they were getting older, and they found their way into it. That the people who are actually spinning this yarn have the ability to acknowledge both things. And the theme of No Country for Old Men, the concept that Tommy Lee Jones was talking about when I saw this, and I was probably 21, 22, was a little beyond me in the sense that I think I may have oversimplified it to just thinking when you do get to a certain age, the world appears more unknowable. But I think it's actually deeper than that. I feel like there's something more. I think there's something more about you almost stop believing that you have the ability to process what's happening to you. Like there is like an energy kind of aspect to it. It's not that that opening thing, what does he say? I arrested this man, sent him to the chair, and the guy looks at me and says, yeah, I believe in hell. I'll be there in 15 minutes. I have trouble believing that Tommy Lee Jones, the sheriff, had not heard stories about psychopaths when he was a kid.
Yeah.
That there were murderers when he was young. There's something else happening. And I wonder,
keep in mind,
existential.
This was set in the 80s too.
This is existential. I know, this is set in the 80s. This is an existential movie with all these themes that we can lift from it. But at the core, I don't like to go away from the genre. I think there is something that it is very specifically saying about the lawmen.
Right.
The people who are working within this world hit a point where they don't really have the energy to justify entertaining the motives of psychopaths.
Yeah,
that's what I really feel that this is about.
Dude, being a lawman like that would be like trying to pick up fucking sand with tweezers.
Can you imagine? I mean,
there's always you never finish. You're never done.
And I don't know. Again, I haven't read the book, so I'm not sure if this is Cormac or if this is the Coens. But one of the other telling conversations that is speaking directly to the "I'm an old man" theme, and I don't know if I can do this anymore, is between him and another sheriff. When he goes up there and he's too late and he doesn't catch Josh Brolin, remember? And the guy and him are sitting. He says, "Can I buy you a cup of coffee before you drive back?" And two sheriffs just sit there talking to each other about how they don't understand the world anymore.
Yeah.
I thought that was really interesting that they chose not to have him have that conversation with another non-law enforcing old man or old woman. So I do feel like there's something about that too. This movie teaches you doesn't teach you, but it tells you when you're watching this movie, you're kind of only looking at the world through the lens of crime. Josh Brolin commits a crime. The first words you hear are
Josh
referring
Brolin
to crime.
steals from a crime.
He steals from a crime. I mean, every single aspect of it is criminal, which is why it's so well constructed that the final scene in the movie, or the most consequential final scene in the movie, involves someone who did not commit a crime.
Yeah.
And
they don't show it.
Exactly. Yeah, but you know exactly what happened.
Yeah.
So the consequence of it, she has to deal with. So it kind of makes me wonder, let's carry that to the end. Are they basically saying that in a world that is dominated and the consequences of the world are actually by those people who are willing to commit crime, to hurt other people or to hurt themselves? It takes me back to this. I got to see the Coen Brothers. I think I've mentioned this before in a Q&A at what was the name of that Lower East Side theater that was kind of a Criterion theater in New York? The Metrograph. I saw them there for Buster Scruggs. And in a Q&A, they were talking to, somebody asked them, one of those silly questions about their violence in their movies. And Ethan answered something like, we're grateful that people tend to give us this positive criticism that we show violence, but we don't glorify it. But it is consequential. But we kind of feel that, and he said, the world is full of people who do horrible things to each other. And that's what makes life interesting.
Right.
And he kind of smiled after he said it.
Well, we're animals.
And it was kind of like, I think that, I just don't think we can downplay enough that they might actually be making a statement, or they at least agree with Cormac McCarthy's statement, that a lot of times this world is passing us by. It's because we're not in control of it. The criminals are.
Well,
the criminals are affecting all of us.
Let me add a level to that. I think, to me, with the last scene with him and his, I'm going to say brother, and clearly they made it seem like his brother has given up on most things. It's messy in there. It probably smells. They made it.
Except for philosophy.
But I mean, he. I think they said he haven't showered in a week. It's he hasn't cleaned anything in a week or whatever.
Tommy Lee says, "How you been doing?" He says, "You're looking at it."
Yeah.
That's
Okay,
a great line.
So earlier, Chigurh says one of the best lines in the movie, which is, if you realize that all of the choices you made led you to here, was it worth it?
Mm.
Right? All the choices you made to be a good person, basically a respectable person, to follow the law, to be obedient. And now here you are facing the end of my oxygen tank weapon that's going to kill you. You know, what if you didn't make any of those choices and you could have outlived this? Like, is this everything, your whole life has led to this? Is
Which
that
is why,
worth
are
it?
you agreeing with me? Because I feel like
Yes, I'm adding to it too.
the
That
inverse of that. Yeah, yeah.
at the end, it's kind of like here's Tommy Lee who has his life together, so to speak, and he's really going through that contemplative stage, and he goes to see his brother, and I don't think he's judging his brother too much, but you could tell that they want the audience to judge him for sure, and he's like, but what's the point? Because I've outlived most of these people that these criminals are just killing, and I'm here, and whatever. Like I could have a nice big house, but I'm gonna be dead soon anyway. And I feel like that is a point. You say with the criminals, I think it's just a more animalistic thing. I don't think it has to be criminal. I think that's why it's important that the dogs suffer and die. That weird deer that he shoots at the very beginning. Basically, when we meet Josh Brolin, it's after we see Chigurh kill people, and then it's the deer getting limped, and you're like, oh no, and then he has to go, and I'm like, go hurry and kill the deer before it gets away, and the deer gets away, so he's going to have a very difficult end of the life. It's like, it's just animalistic. It's not just saying criminals have taken over our world. It's like we are animals, and animals have taken over the world because we have taken over the world. And what did you expect?
Okay, yeah. So then let's be more specific. It's those willing and ready to commit violence. It's very specific to violence. It almost feels like that question he asks. I mean, I'm so glad he said it because he says it twice. It's clearly something that they want you to be thinking about. And every time I see those scenes, aside from just the brilliant filmmaking and the suspense, I can't help but think you're convinced that there's some kind of destiny and that you're a part of it.
Yeah, fate comes.
I didn't plan on you walking in here, and I didn't ask you to do the coin toss.
Right.
You are the only impediment
Yeah.
in all the people's lives that you encounter because you're willing to commit violence. And I feel like that is something that, I don't know, I feel like it's almost like the very beginning of this movie. There's a moment when Tommy Lee is basically saying, I don't know if I want to do this anymore. I don't know if I can keep doing this. And you have to, that kind of made me wonder this time around, whatever, fourth time watching, like, are the old men, is the theme, can it be extended to people? It's the violence succeeds when good people do nothing. Bad people succeed when good people. Is it a little bit of that as well? That, like, the energy, if they are these immovable forces, these people willing to do violence, are we only basically being protected by people who dedicate their lives to stopping them, or at least some of their lives to stopping them?
Which is why, even though this is a very realistic movie, I feel like it's absurdist.
For sure.
Maybe.
Yeah, I think there's absolutely an element there. And with the structural kind of choices they make, it doesn't have the same formalism.
I forgot to come back to the first kill that Bardem does. Where
was
he's
it
like
the deputy
first
guy
or second?
I
The
forget
choking or
the
the
choking.
The choking's the first one, right?
Yeah. And
God.
the look on his face, but then but the way it's directed, I have a couple of questions for the Coens if I ever get in a point about this now after seeing this.
They're going to want to talk about their movies with you for sure.
What does he see? Because he's looking over the side. What does he see at the moment of death? Like, because it's almost like they directed him to see something, because you can almost see recognition as he looks off to the left when he kills that guy. And the other one is about one of the coin tosses, because I actually misunderstood it. I had to look it up, but I thought they did a subtle reveal when he brought the coins out, and there was that one red quarter. I thought it was blood, and he actually did kill that guy. But apparently it's not. It's because arcades in the 80s used to color the quarters in red.
Oh, cool.
And I'm like, I want to know, did he, was that intended, or did he go back and kill that guy and someone's misinterpreted it?
I think anything you could imagine is possible in terms of his capacity for violence. I think another thing that they're trying to poke at with little kernels like that is, does it even matter if you know for sure whether or not he killed him, as much as it matters that he's still alive? That the ongoing violence is guaranteed to continue because he doesn't die. Do you know what I mean? Like the idea of them letting the psychopath live, them including Cormac McCarthy. I feel like the bigger question is that what they're trying to tell us, I think, with this whole fucking movie, he said it's absurdist, if you're thinking about the plot when you're watching this movie, if you're thinking about that in reflection, then you're actually too terrified to deal with what happens after the movie ends, which is that there is always a Chigurh.
He's certainly not going to play fucking tennis, that's for sure.
How about this? How about the way they fucking handle... First, again, I love this too. Like, Woody Harrelson's character is also a man of violence, extreme violence, right? He's a solver. He's a fix-it man. He's a hitman. And the way that they show him not beg, but like barter and panic for his life. And then they don't even give him the dignity of seeing him die.
Yeah.
The camera stays on Bardem.
Was this movie responsible for his resurgence? Because he did some fucking good acting in that scene.
Guys,
where he made his end.
Fantastic.
Do you know?
He's so good in it.
Do you know Woody Harrelson's connection to this film, the subject matter?
Yeah.
You looked it up on Dave always says the IMDb trivia. John, do you know this?
No, did he have a family member that got murdered or something?
John, do you know who Woody Harrelson's dad is?
No.
So Woody Harrelson's father is a man named Charles Harrelson, who we should say abandoned his family when he was very young. So he didn't know his father very well. Charles Harrelson was a contract killer.
Wow.
In 1979, he was hired by, let's see, where is it? This is, he was paroled in 1978. That was probably not the best choice by the courts. On May 29, 1979, U.S. District Judge John H. Wood Jr. was shot to dead. This is actually in the parking lot outside of San Antonio, Texas, at this townhouse. Harrelson was convicted of killing Judge Wood after being hired by drug dealer Jemiel Chagra of El Paso, Texas, nicknamed Maximum John. Woody Harrelson's dad was a contract killer who killed a judge. In this case, Woody Harrelson's character is hired by, not a judge, they never even say who Stephen Root's character is.
Yeah.
But then he gets killed by Chigurh later. So, and this is literally set in 1980. So the year after this is that. Can you imagine Woody Harrelson taking this role? And even more so, this is what it is. It's not a full film. It's this. This is the film he gets that basically is as close to his father as he's ever going to be. How fucking insane is that? Because I kind of forgot that Woody Harrelson was in this movie, to be honest with you.
Well,
and then of course
he's in it for like 10 minutes.
And when Josh Brolin calls and he says, "Where is?" I forget his character's name, and he goes, "Is he here? Is he there?" And Javier Bardem says, "Not in the way in which you mean." It's like this is Woody Harrelson. So you can't, honestly, John, you can't kill Woody Harrelson then, knowing this backstory. You can't kill him on camera, knowing his family history and everything.
In life and art, they all worked out there because I also think it's the strongest choice.
Yeah.
You almost want to believe that the man in the white hat is going to save the day. He's hired to kill Chigurh and get the money back.
Yeah.
And you think he's got the white hat on. He's a contract killer. And you think they have you thinking everything's going to be okay. He wakes up with those flowers in his hand at that fucking hospital. Yeah. And you think like, oh my God. And it's such a small part. You see him see the case and everything. And you just think for 1 second, this is going to be like a spy versus spy. Maybe they're going to actually end up having the shootout. And it's not even anywhere close to that because he has a different code than Javier Bardem. And Javier Bardem's is the one that makes the world go round. Because I'm just going to keep coming back to that.
It's a fucking avalanche.
And Woody Harrelson says that the money is, what is the word he uses? It's like, it's somewhere along the riverbed or something, right? That's where he says, he's like, I know where the money is. It's along the riverbed. I can find you the money. And then eventually he says you can have all of it. Javier Bardem knows that that's where the money is. So he has no need. This is what's so interesting about this psychopath, because we think psychopaths have vendettas and everything. He doesn't need to be the one who kills Josh Brolin. He's hunting Josh Brolin. He wants the money, even though we've already talked about he might not need the money. He doesn't need to be the one who kills him. The cartel kills him very smartly with the mom, who maybe is like the one. I feel like the Coen Brothers were like, we just want to make sure it's funny. So let's get that mom to be like a little ridiculous. And then she gives away it's fucking, it's just like, it's another, honestly, it's Llewellyn, which is Josh Brolin's character. It's kind of a fuck up on his point. Like you can't be too specific because you never know when things could go wrong, and that's a fuck up. But I just love that Javier Bardem, A, doesn't need to be the one who kills him, even after following him after all this time and being like, you're at the hospital, but I'm not going to go there. I'm not going to find you. I'll find you. It'll be fine. The cartel tells him. And then he goes and kills her. And we don't see him get the money. Do we see him get the money?
You don't, but that's the famous scene that's behind me. I think it's implied that he took it from that scene.
So you think they took it? They went to that scene and he took it.
Yes, because do you see the screws undone on the vent?
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So and then
there's a
and then he goes and kills her after this is all done anyway.
For sure. He does his job and he returns it. And I'll even raise you one on, it's not that I think he doesn't care if he kills him. I think Javier's code tells Josh Brolin, and when he says to Woody Harrelson, I know that the money will be brought to me. I know at some point it will come to me. Because his code is, I'm unwilling to do whatever it takes, or I'm willing to do whatever it takes to hurt someone to get what I want. And so is the world. So whether it's kind of to both of our points, like I'm either going to hurt you or someone you love enough to where you're going to put it at my feet, or the rest of the world that is going after you is going to as well. Either way, I'm not concerned at all that I'm not going to win.
So then do you think
people are vulnerable? People can be killed and hurt.
So Tommy Lee, all this fucking dream talk, he decides to go to this crime scene in the middle of the night, like fucking the conclave. And he goes there because he has this vision, and then he sees exactly what you're talking about, the vent being down. And I love that Javier Bardem didn't even try to replace it. He wanted people to know that like it was up there. So Javier Bardem didn't even participate in the shootout. He went at night to get the money. And Tommy Lee Jones, who has spent this entire movie, including the finale, basically saying, I'm out of touch, I don't understand these killers. In a dream, he keeps talking about his dreams, was awakened to go there then and just missed them. And he's sitting there be like, I don't understand these people at all. But actually, he kind of did. He kind of was like, this person is going to be doing this at night. I should go there right now. In a weird way, he like was just off a little bit. He's close. He basically has it, but he's like, man, So the whole thing that we were saying before about how this actually could be about once you've finally figured out that you don't understand anything, you're dead. And then the next generation has to discover for themselves they have no control. And then they're dead. And then they have to discover they have no control like the fucking dinosaurs. Tommy Lee Jones was close. He was close. He almost had it all figured out. He almost nailed him, and he missed it, and that didn't bring him any more peace.
Because I think another lesson from this movie is knowing the truth is not the same thing as trying to solve the crime. It's trying to actually prevent the crimes. You get to that age, you have that experience, you get to that point of depletion where you don't have anything left, and you have the intelligence to understand and the instincts to follow to be able to learn the truth. But that doesn't mean that you actually want to go out there and chase down Chigurhs for the rest, anymore. It's just too much. Here's a very technical question for you guys, though, because it's a fun filmmaking thing that's a little bit of those annoying, like, is it true? What matters if it's true? Where was Chigurh when that door was open? Because Tommy Lee kicks it open and it hits the wall. Javier is a big man, and for me, it looks like there's no way that he's behind that door.
No.
It hits the wall, and there's not enough space for a grown man to be there, and you saw him waiting. And Tommy Lee's just there, and he turns on the light in the bathroom, and it's not a big hotel room. What happened? What's the timeline there?
I saw him as I interpreted it as he was in the room next door.
Even though he's looking down at the light that he's looking at, the only light in that room, which Roger Deakins, good job, buddy. The only light that's happening in that scene is coming through the busted out lock right behind me.
I think there's
on the crime scene door, right? Do you think he busted out both doors?
Well, the first time he went to the hotel, he rented the room next door.
Right.
And then he broke into that.
But you know what I'm saying, right? He busted out the lock, and that's what he's looking down with the gun. And he's looking at the lock. He's waiting to see if somebody crosses in front of it and turns the door.
Yeah, but the bus. So I think there's one missing puzzle piece here that we haven't talked about, which is ghosts are a theme in this. Tommy Lee mentions ghosts. Chigurh mentions ghosts. I think they all mention a ghost at one time. It's like the Game of Thrones thing. One time. You don't want to overplay your hand. One time. I think those were two different timelines. I think Chigurh was worried that people had spotted him, and then he was doing the lookout. And
that's good.
It didn't happen. Tommy Lee Jones, same thing. because I believe he had a vision of some kind that drew him to this crime scene at night. Think about how crazy it is for a member of the law to go at night without telling anybody to a crime scene that just happened that day where people died. And he just went, and I feel like he had a vision, and they both had visions, and the timeline just didn't add up. That's what I think. But there's no answer to it. That's just what I think.
Yeah, no. That's really good.
Dave, is it fucking weird doing this one time?
Wait,
I want to know what this is doing it one time. Sorry.
Let me not forget. Oh, let me say this because I'm going to forget it. If you're going to play that game, is there a chance that Javier Bardem, when you see him waiting in the dark, the moment I'm talking about, that it's the night before Josh Brolin is seen dead and he shot him, and then Javier actually ends up getting into like I guess that wouldn't make sense because it's nighttime and daytime when the shootout occurs.
I think the shootout is...
So you think he comes to... It doesn't even matter what you're saying, if it's technically true or not. You're just saying it doesn't... We're told because of the fact that he can't open the door all the way.
Yeah.
We know that he's not in the room, which tells us it might not even be the same time.
Yeah.
We have to at least entertain that fact. Because otherwise, Dave, you're right. And it is the same time, but he's not in the physical space. He's in another place, which is, either way, it's a wonderfully fun mystery that pisses you off. That Tommy Lee just sits down in a great way, pisses you off, and you don't actually get to see, if we're calling Tommy Lee the hero and the lead of our film, he is, I agree. You don't get to see them actually confront each other.
No.
You never actually get to have that catharsis where they even lay eyes on each other.
Nope.
And acknowledge each other. Because Chigurh just represents everything that is wrong with criminal violence in Tommy Lee's mind.
The only conversation is with Woody Harrelson, not with either of the two.
Okay, so what do you think about the ending? I want to hear from the first-time viewer.
It's the wounded deer.
And then I want to hear from the second-time viewer.
I think he's the wounded deer. Dave?
The Tommy Lee dream.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah.
Oh, that.
Yeah.
No, I mean... I thought
the deer that shot at the beginning.
Oh, shit. Okay, Dave, you go first.
I mean, as I said, this was... And I know this was the fact that they dumped the viewer back into... It's all over. We're winding down. This is real life again, and he's retired and doesn't know what to do with his life. The fact that they've dumped you back into real life while you're still sitting in the theater, even before the credits roll. I know a lot of Stephen King stories finish like that. They have the adventure, and then it goes back to just the mundaneness of the everyday aftermath.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And it's kind of like we took you on this adventure that was a little bit this and a little bit that and a little bit that, but now we're back, and it's done with. It's over. And it was a nice little coda for me. The fact that he just wanders off into the fucking sunset. After that,
Are you talking about Javier, or are you talking about Tommy Lee?
You're talking about Javier.
Yeah.
So I'm saying, I guess I'm taken away, and I'm not surprised because the first time I saw this movie, I didn't retain every word of Tommy Lee's dream.
No, not at all.
But more than that, you took away the first time watching it, that mundacity of him just being at home with his wife, reflecting on a dream he had in retirement. And how
he doesn't know what to do today.
Right.
Yeah, and he literally doesn't know what to do today. How about you, Jeff? The more I've watched, I guess one thing I'm getting at is the more I've watched this, the more I've tried to dissect and understand the dream. And it always makes me wonder, like, does that even matter? Or is what Dave's saying, that initial instinctual reaction? I didn't know it was going to cut to black right after that, so I wasn't paying attention to every single word.
I feel like that's everybody the first time where it's kind of like, okay, we're doing a dream again. I'll rest for a second until I get to the next scene. And it's like, I'll try to, hopefully something pops. And it's weird. And again, I wonder if the Coen Brothers I wonder how many times they watched this, because they edited it, which means you see it a million times over and over again, every take, everything. Although apparently Tommy Lee Jones doesn't do a lot of takes. I wonder if they knew that people were going to not be paying attention to every single word of this last monologue of their film. I bet you they knew. I bet you they knew.
Sure. Yeah.
And so I rewatched it again, and I knew it again, and I still didn't pay attention to every single word.
You do have an interesting reaction to that black screen.
I rewinded like 30 seconds, so I heard the very end, and then I know that the last words are like, and then I woke up.
Because you're expecting... Like, you're also expecting those two to end up at the same place at some point. And he's wandered off in the sunset, and this guy's sitting at this house.
Wandered off to the sunset is generous. He still does have a broken arm that he didn't reset.
Yes, he's all fucked up, but he wanders off. He just wanders off. He's
the deer.
Probably going to be fine.
Deer.
Yeah.
We don't know what happened to the deer. The deer didn't even need blood.
But the fact that you're anticipating something happening and then it snaps to black makes you go back and reflect on everything that just happened in the scene before it as well, because you're like, wait, that's the end of the movie. What happened there? Was that important?
What else? What else?
Yeah, it forces you to do that.
Again, the first time watch, the Unsullied. What else stands out that we haven't? Is there anything else that really pops the first time, like that we haven't beat to death here in this conversation?
Well, I feel like they needed to show those outdoor locations as huge expanses of nothing at the beginning, and I feel like Roger really understood the assignment. I did love the massively wide, like where he was just a dot in the middle of the fucking frame sometimes.
And he admitted that was part of the location scout. Like it was almost like they were just like, fuck it, we're just going to location scout and shoot it. So thank you to have time.
Yeah.
Can you imagine having a time? Can you imagine actors are like, I need to be on set at this time and get paid for every second. And Roger Deakins is like, let's just scout some locations, but let's also take a day with each one so I can get the perfect fucking B-roll shot.
Yeah.
These are the best B-roll shots. They're different times of the day. They're perfect. Sorry, Dave, what were you saying?
And the only other thing is I had an amusing thought after a while, because the way they set Javier up, that sometimes he just comes out of the background and attacks or something, or come out of darkness and attack, or like there'll be like a sudden thing. I started comparing it to It Follows, the movie, because in It Follows, when you watch that the second time, you notice how many times there's someone in the background fucking walking towards the person. And it's like every time something moves in the blurred out background of the frame, you're like, is that him fucking coming to for this person?
Right.
In this movie, after they set it up the first couple of times.
Speaking of that, my favorite shot in the movie
puts you on
is
edge.
when Javier Bardem's at the site at night. What a fucking idiot. Can you imagine going there at night? What a dick. And then he looks up and he sees the car. And then later when he looks up and he sees the two cars with the people.
Josh Brolin.
Sorry, Josh Brolin. And then he looks up and he sees the two cars with the people. That was pretty. I was like, oh, fuck.
Dude, that was the Salem's Lot shot again for me.
That was so good.
Yeah, that's great. I feel like the just to revisit the ending real fast, because it does make me think about it. And you're right. Unlike a book, where if this is the end of the book, and I think I don't know if that's the end of the book or not. But if it's a book, it's a book. So you will immediately, if you want to, just look down or look up and keep.
Yeah.
And reread.
Throw it across the room because it just fucking
you're like, oh my God, the ending is coming on the next page.
The end, you see it or whatever.
Just sailing out the window.
This coming in the movie. I had no idea.
It does make me interested. His dream is that I'm alone. I'm with my father. I'm the older man in the dream. We're on a trail together, and Daddy goes up ahead. He's got one of those fires in the old horns, the way that the old timers used to do. And Daddy goes up ahead, and he makes a fire for us, a light in the dark. And then I wake up, cut.
Right.
And it does make me like, the more, now that I can really wrap my head around almost most of the words of it, I've seen it enough in context, not just like reading a transcript. It does kind of take me back to that theme of like, it's so dark. It's even darker than you think it is, where basically it made me wonder this time, is Tommy Lee's subconscious basically preparing him? The only release from this living hell is death.
Right.
Is actually escaping the world where there is always a Chigurh. The darkness is always there, which is really scary to me. But I mean, that would be the way to end it. So more than just the mundacity, more than just it forces you to reflect because of the choice to cut so quickly, very Sopranos ending kind of style.
Yeah.
Even the words, when you do get to rewatch it again and you start thinking about them, the theme is hammered home in a really dark, unsettling way. There is nothing happy about this movie.
No.
And somehow, because of the nature of the crime drama, there is room for entertainment.
Yeah.
It's philosophically Sisyphean.
Yeah.
It's Atlas with the boulder. Like, it's terrible. There's nothing good about it. They're saying everything is terrible. There's nothing good down the road. There's no hope. And yet
it's a slice of bad life.
Yeah.
Right.
All right. The last, on a positive note, I want to say one of my last favorite, and they do this with other movies and they're so good at it. The fucking extra and day player casting in this movie.
The one day, show up to set for one day. The guy at the gas station.
Remarkable.
The guy at the gas station is the best example, but he's not the only one where it's like, that was one day of shooting.
The woman who's like, I can't tell you that room, but, and she's like, she won't give him his trailer's number. And then the chicken coop truck.
What happened to those chickens,
farmer.
Dave, what happened to those chickens? But
When he says, I need to know where the nearest airport is, he says, where you going? He says, I don't know. And he
Those
says,
chickens are on the side of the
just-
road, man. They're inconsequential to him.
He goes,
Did he kill them,
where
or
you
did he just-
going? He
just
says,
left
I don't know. And he says, you just lighting out for the territories? Been there, brother. I mean, just the believability. These humans that they cast are so far away from these gorgeous and interesting looking movie stars that they're around. There's some kind of authenticity and levity that comes into their films, which is why they get away with such stark exposed violence.
Yeah.
And I really do think that might be, it's a treasure that I think, it's not that you overlook in Coen Brothers films. Everybody knows they have that, sardonic kind of edge that they bring to stuff. But it's really brought home in what I think, without a doubt, is their darkest movie ever.
Yeah.
It's not comedy. It's not Fargo, where it's a silly circumstance that
even
brought
the wood
these people
chipper
to
is not
violence.
half as dark as this.
Yeah.
Really funny. The hairstyle for Chigurh. I don't know if you saw this. There's a lot of good anecdotes about this movie, but actually, the Coen Brothers, these motherfuckers, they found a photo of a brothel patron taken in 1979. A year before this movie takes place. And that was the model for Chigurh's hairstyle. When he first saw his new haircut, Javier Bardem said, "Oh no, now I won't get laid for the next 2 months." The Coens responded by happily high-fiving each other. Because even though in the book they said he was 30 and they were supposed to be a little cooler, they decided an old-timey thing would be better. Something that was a little bit more old-fashioned. Chigurh was an old man. He was a more old-fashioned contract killer. There's a couple fun things. Carter Burwell's score consists of only 16 minutes of music. There's basically no score to this movie. Tommy Lee Jones made $15 million from this movie because of a contract dispute that he had to take to court. Actually, his representatives took to court. So long story short, he ended up getting $15 million for this movie, which he probably shouldn't have. But I think the court case came after the box office gross. He had rights to Blood Meridian, which is Cormac McCarthy's first big successful novel in the 80s. And he had the film rights for a while, as did James Franco eventually. But Tommy Lee Jones knows he probably knows him personally.
Yeah, they're friends.
Texas.
They're friends.
They are friends.
Yeah.
And so he probably had some back end deal to because this book hadn't come out yet when the Coen Brothers had the rights to it. So another thing about that is that Josh Brolin was filming Grindhouse with Robert Rodriguez and Quentin Tarantino.
Planet Terror.
They were kind of whatever. Anyway.
Yeah.
And Robert Rodriguez and Quentin Tarantino ended up shooting his self-tape. And the first question the Coen Brothers had was, who lit your self-tape? Who lit it?
Who lit your tape?
They got to use the full camera for it. And also Heath Ledger was in talks to play Llewellyn Moss before Josh Brolin. And backed out due to wanting to take time off. And this was right before he filmed The Dark Knight, of course. But he had also recently done an accent, not Texas, but he was, in Brokeback Mountain, where he played a Southern person, so with the cowboy hat. So anyway, he decided to not take the film.
God, he may have been too young, wouldn't he?
He was in talks to do it.
He would have been. It would have made you.
I'm glad
think
it went
about,
the way it did.
He would have been. He would have been like 16 or 17 serving in Vietnam. It would have been a totally different perception of Llewellyn.
He would have had to play 10 years older than he was. And also the guy,
I've also heard
Gerret Dillahunt auditioned for that role too, and then he ended up playing the Wendell, who's I think the sidekick to Tommy Lee Jones.
Oh yeah. That guy was funny.
Yeah.
I have heard a story out of Javier's mouth in like an interview that he, when you're approaching characters like this, you're always kind of looking for like your way in so that you don't end up playing cliches. And he said the moment they did his hair, he was like, all right, we got it.
Yeah.
Like anyone who would walk around.
Now I want to kill someone.
Yeah.
Now
I know what's happening.
All right. That's, you know what? This is for all of us. We love this fucking movie. This movie was great. I'm glad this was a shoot from the hip episode. We could have done more of the trivia and stuff, but I'm glad we shot from the hip and gave our feeling. We talked for a good amount of time, but hopefully everybody listening had a good time and either saw it recently and had a good time talking with us, or inspires you to go see it, because God damn it, I still want to see it again. Even after this conversation, I want to see it again immediately. So cool.
This is one this is a rewatchable for sure. We should.
Holy shit. Wow.
Yeah. Well, if I can find it on fucking Paramount Plus, I will.
Dave.
Just lighting out for the territories, huh?
All right.
Brother, I've been there.
And with that, let's spin the wheel so we talk about what we're talking about next week, but we're not going to pick the movie until the end of the episode. John, you want to guess what year it's going to be? No, I feel like I'm talking like I'm from King of the Hill.
86.
Josh Brolin said Paris, Texas is one of his favorite movies, by the way, on the Team Deakins podcast where they did this. Anyway, I'm going to go,
Roger
Dave.
Deakins, one of his favorite movies, too.
Of course. I'm going to go 1998. I forget if we did that recently or not, but let's do 1998.
Here
I don't
we
think
go.
so, actually. One. Oh, my God. I think I nailed it. Dave, did I nail it? 1950.
Oh.
3.
Oh, boy.
I love the
Bring
old
it
ones
back.
because we can choose it quickly because not a lot of movies came out that time compared to 2007.
Yeah,
We're not
right.
going to do it right now, though. You got to listen to a little bit more Dawson and us do what you've been watching, Dave. You were in a dark theater doing a very, very important show. Did you get to see anything?
I did. I caught the finale that everyone's losing their fucking mind of the current season of Doctor Who. I didn't like it. It felt like it, yeah.
Hot take, Dave.
50
It's
cents,
a weird one
Dave.
because normally I'll give Who a lot of thing. I mean, I like what they did for the ending. I'm very interested to see where they go there. I'm not going to touch on it because, you know, everyone's already spoiled that all over the fucking internet. I'm not going to do it. But, yeah, it just seemed like they kind of went, nah, let's not do that. What else you got at the last minute? And hurriedly wrote some shit. And today I watched Heart Eyes, the horror film about the serial killer who chases people on Valentine's Day.
Oh.
And I'm not
Every
kidding.
Valentine's Day, he goes, it's my time.
Dude, this is a fucking date night movie. I'm not even kidding.
Really?
It's a fucking rom-com, but someone's running around slashing up the fucking couples.
Love it.
But it's a rom-com.
Rom-com.
I'm not kidding.
wow.
It
Wow.
actually
Wow.
happens. Yeah,
Slashing up
it's
the
that
couples rom-com. I
it's
love
so
it.
mixed in tone. For a minute I was like, is this like funny and quirky and like a rom-com? But then there's serious kills. And I'm like, this
Nice.
tone
All right.
tone is so fucking out there. You don't see it coming.
Dave?
So, yeah. I recommend that one. I enjoyed it. I was not expecting it at all. The dialogue is really good.
Let's go.
The two protagonists are really good. Their chemistry is amazing.
Did you watch it with
So-
the wife who says a good date night movie?
She sat down and watched it too. Yeah.
That's awesome. John?
All right, I finished Your Friends and Neighbors.
Yeah, me too. Me
Fun
too.
stuff. You think there's going to be a second season?
They're already filming it.
They're already filming. Okay.
Of course there is.
So fun stuff.
Did
That's
you like
good.
the ending? Did you like the? Because I thought the last 2 episodes there were some scenes that were really powerful, and I was like, "Fuck, yeah, how did we become these people?" Scene is really. There were a couple really good scenes, but then the very, very, very end, I was like,
We kind of saw the very, very, very end coming, and I actually found it kind of satisfying. But because of the way that they handled it, they're choosing tonally not to make this show as dramatic as it could be.
Yeah.
And that's just a choice. I think they wanted to feel more inviting and entertaining.
I think they want it to be more
Um,
Soderbergh-like. In fact, I think it could be even more Soderbergh-like.
Well, it's a Craig Gillespie.
Yeah.
So I think he, it definitely has that. We want you to come watch this and enjoy watching this kind of feeling. I liked it. I liked it.
Me
I'm
too.
coming back
Me
for
too.
sure. I had a good time. Turning Point, Vietnam, like my Turning Point series on the Cold War and 9/11. I'm almost done with the Vietnam one. I know way too much about that war at this point. So fucked up. History repeating itself. Jesus Christ. You know what we watched? I kept asking myself why Fountain of Youth did not go to theaters. And then we watched it. This is directed by.
I tried watching it and I just couldn't do it.
Okay, so it's starring. Don't buzz me.
Angela's not here. I could watch whatever I want, and that's not what it's going to be.
So it stars John Krasinski, Natalie Portman,
Academy Award winner
Domhnall
Natalie Portman.
Gleeson. And it is
Tony Award
directed by
winner
Guy
Domhnall
Ritchie.
Gleeson. Yeah.
And it is written by, funny enough, the man who wrote Zodiac. Since we're talking about this year, that's kind of
What?
funny. Kind of crazy.
How much
I know,
money
I know,
did
I know.
Apple give them? What's going on?
I don't know. This movie.
It was a 41 Metascore.
I wanted it to be better than it was. I love these kinds of puzzle movies. So I think if you're really down to watch that kind of puzzle movie, you're probably still going to enjoy watching it. There's some big action sequences. But I guess the question, and I really don't want to sound like I'm being super critical here, but I was a little surprised that they didn't just take more cutting scissors to it. It felt like it could have been tighter and just benefited from feeling tighter and feeling to have a lot more momentum. The movies that it is using as its comps, for sure, The Mummy, National Treasures, Da Vinci Code. Something about...
You think this shot of them with the pyramids leads you to believe that maybe the Mummy inspired them a little bit?
Sure. But when I was thinking back on those movies while I was watching it, which is probably not a good sign if you're thinking about other movies while you're watching a movie, it did make me think that like every one of those scenes, the ones that work really well in those movies, especially the first one of each of those franchises, every scene is really tightly cut, and there's either comedy or there is the next clue that is presented, and somehow through, I feel like this is the truth about like all good action movies, as characters move through those circumstances using comedy or clues, you learn about the characters. You almost never have a lot of ongoing, lengthy dialogue-driven scenes about characters, and I kind of felt like that was maybe what this movie ended up doing, and for better or for worse, that was their choice. And it just kind of felt like they maybe could have cut it a little bit more aggressively. But you know what? I'm still going to say it. If you're a puzzle movie person, I think people might still enjoy watching it just because it's a fun puzzle movie.
I want to give it a go.
Dave. Yep. Jeff, what do you think? Dude? What'd you watch?
I finished My Friends and Neighbors, as we talked about. I kind of forgot to mention that this actually happened like right before we filmed last week's episode, but it was Memorial Day weekend last week when we recorded, and I just fucking fired up Top Gun Maverick again just to give it a go.
God.
And it's so
I've almost done it like 3 times recently.
It's so
Was it
good.
great?
I thought I was going to fast forward through like the Jennifer Gardner scenes and through the I just kept it rolling. It's just so well done. It's so, again, so simple. It seems so simple, but it's just so well done. So kudos to Kaczynski. I can't wait for the F1 movie, which is coming out very soon.
Yeah.
So I watched Maverick. We watched What Did Jennifer Do, or What Jennifer Did. It's this Asian family in Canada where the parents were, actually, I forget if the dad died. The mom was definitely murdered, and then the dad, and there were 3 people that held them up. And then the question is, did the daughter have something to do with it in Ontario, Canada? It's a very interesting story. So it's another true crime docuseries that's on Netflix. And what else did I watch? I watched something else, and I'm trying to think of what it was, and I can't figure it out. But, I had a good time watching things. So when it comes to me, I'll let you know. I did watch the Knicks a bit. This was the week that the Knicks lost to the Indiana Pacers. So I did watch a decent amount of Knicks this week. I went to bars 3 times. I spent way too much money just drinking beer, watching TV with people. Could have been doing it at home.
That first game when the Pacers came back from like 25 points in the last like few minutes.
And they hit the buzzer beater, but it was actually only a 2. The whole thing was, it's like, okay, they deserve to go to the finals, even though it's going to be the lowest rated finals of all time.
I know, I don't watch football.
Shut the fuck up.
It was tennis actually. Yeah.
I watched some of the John Adams miniseries. I don't know how I got on. It doesn't matter. It's just whatever. Let's just move on. We'll move on. I want to watch some new shit for next week. All right, we're gonna
let's take a
we're gonna take a little break. We're gonna choose what 1953 movie we're doing. We'll tell you very, very soon. Listen to some Das and we'll get right back at you.
And we're back.
What do we do? John, can you introduce it this time?
We're doing Fritz Lang's The Big Heat.
Fritz Lang.
The man is super famous for a bunch like M and other silent cinema.
This man does not bury the lead.
Yeah, we're going to talk about The Big Heat. I'm very excited.
1953. Get your cinema up, folks. I'm so excited to talk about it. Anything else you want to say before we send these people on their way to listen to some Das Sign to take us out?
No, we're good.
It's been
Come
2
back.
hours. Nobody's listening still.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can tweet that.